Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amir Poonawala. I am a licensed immigration advisor for New Zealand and migration agent for Australia here at G.E.M.S International. Our office is based in Auckland, City of New Zealand. If you are confused with how to make a visa application or how to lodge a citizenship application, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Push the bell icon so that you can get regular updates about how to make different types of visa applications, how to lodge citizenship applications, and various other immigration related news and updates. Thank you. Before you start watching this video, please read our legal disclaimer provided in the comment section of this video. Thank you. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about another hot topic for which we get contacted quite often, and the topic, as you can see on the title of this video, is how to apply for an Australian citizenship. Now, on the onset itself, I would like to clarify that this is a very vast, complex and a very broad topic. I will not be able to cover the whole aspects of how to apply for an Australian citizenship in this video. I mean, if I think that way, I might have to make a 3-hour movie and probably another sequel and another sequel. I mean, the subject is so vast. So I'm only going to cover the general criteria so that I can give you an idea of what is involved in obtaining an Australian citizenship. So please remember that there are 3 basic ways of getting an Australian citizenship. Firstly, by conferral, secondly by descent, and thirdly by adoption. And there could be various other reasons why an Australian citizenship could be granted, for reasons of exceptional circumstances of humanitarian nature, or there could be various other reasons why an Australian citizenship gets granted, but this authority of granting an Australian citizenship is with the Minister of the said department, and it may also require ministerial intervention during this process. So please bear that in mind. I would also like to point out again in this video and sincerely request our viewers and prospective clients that making a citizenship application is not all about filling forms really. You must always ensure in the first place whether you are eligible to apply for an Australian citizenship or not. Okay, this is the very first thing you must do. You must ensure that all the appropriate supporting documents are provided along with your application in the very first attempt. If you don't do this, the whole process could just get delayed, and it could have other implications really. So that is something I would like to tell you. And this process of making a complete application, doing your formal assessment whether you qualify for this citizenship or not, and submitting your application, compiling the whole application, submitting it to the respective department, and continuing to liaise with that department till the finalization or till the outcome of your application is achieved. And this is the service that we provide, and this is our area of expertise, and we sincerely suggest all our viewers that you please avail professional help with lodging your citizenship applications, so that you do everything in a professional way and in the right way in the first attempt itself. Thank you. However, you must always remember that no one can give you 100% guarantee of getting your citizenship application approved or your visa application approved, as you can understand that it is quite obvious that the authority who decides on your visa or citizenship application is the respective government department of that country, and we as advisors or your migration agent, we have absolutely no influence over this process, or we do not control this process. So you must always remember that. However, I would like to point out that we will always utilize our professional skills, our expertise, our knowledge, our vast experience in this field to ensure that we try and achieve the outcome that you are trying to achieve at the end of this process, and that is what I can assure you. But remember, there are no guarantees. Thank you for your understanding. Okay, so let us look at the topic of getting an Australian citizenship for an adult applicant. Please, I would like to reiterate, please remember that we will only be discussing the very basic requirements for grant of an Australian citizenship for an adult applicant, and you must always meet all other requirements that come under this category in order for one to qualify for an Australian citizenship, and not just the ones that we are going to discuss in this video. So let us look at the basic criteria. The criteria number 1 is you must be an Australian permanent resident or an eligible New Zealand citizen at the time of your Australian citizenship application. Now again, please remember that there is a whole bunch of requirements to be met to be an eligible New Zealand citizen. And just one more important point I would like to clarify here with regards to the New Zealand citizens is that if you are holding a special category visa subclass 444, which was granted to you at the time of your arrival in Australia, you will not be eligible to apply for Australian citizenship, quite obviously because you still do not hold an Australian permanent resident visa. So please bear that in mind. Thank you. Okay, so coming to the next criteria is that you must be living in Australia on a valid visa for the past 4 years at the time you want to lodge an Australian citizenship application. Okay, and unless you are a permanent resident or an eligible New Zealand citizen, then you should be residing in Australia for a minimum of 12 months preceding the date of the application. Okay, and another criteria under this is that you must not have been away from Australia for more than 12 months in total in the past 4 years, including no more than 90 days in total in the past 12 months. Who is under 16 years of age, you do not need to meet the general residence requirement, but you must be a permanent resident of Australia at the time you lodge your application for citizenship. Right. The other point that we will come to is your residency starts on the date you were granted permanent resident visa while you were in Australia, or when you first entered Australia on a permanent visa. So, either of these. There are also some general exemptions to the above rules, but we will not go through them because there is a whole bunch of exemptions and that could apply to different scenarios. So, we will not go into that direction now. Okay, so let's come to the next criteria, which is the character requirement for making a citizenship application, which says that you must be a person of good character if you are 18 years or over. Good character is the enduring moral qualities of a person. When the department will assess your character for this particular application, they will consider whether you are likely to uphold and obey the laws of Australia and also meet the other commitments made through the citizenship pledge. Again, while assessing your application for citizenship, the department will also consider whether you have any recorded criminal convictions or any obligations you may have towards a court in Australia or overseas, or your association with people of concern, or any incidents that have been reported for domestic violence, or whether you have been honest in your dealings with the Australian community, including providing false or misleading information in relation to a visa or citizenship application. So this is something that will be assessed when you will submit your citizenship application. So please bear that in mind. The next criteria is about your knowledge of Australia, and you must understand what it means to be an Australian citizen. And to assess this, most applicants will have to sit the citizenship test. At the time you have an appointment, you must know about Australia and its people, Australia's democratic beliefs, rights, and liberties, and the government in general and the various laws that govern the people living in Australia. Now, you must remember that in such a citizenship test, if you score 75% or more, then you meet the knowledge requirement of Australia and you will be considered successful in this test. Some applicants may not have to sit for this test, and there are several exemptions to this. We will not be discussing it over here. But in general, it is a good idea for a person who is making an Australian citizenship application to be well aware of what Australia is all about, Right. So coming to the next criteria is the language requirement, and you must always remember that the Australian community or Australia as a nation is an English speaking country. It's an English speaking community, and English is widely used in all day to day activities and paperwork. Everything is in English. So you need to have a basic knowledge of the English language to become an Australian citizen. Quite obviously, as I said, because English is a national language, and communicating in English helps you to live your life to the fullest in Australia, quite obviously. And it is important that you score at least a minimum of 75% or more to pass this language requirement test. So please bear that in mind. Again, there are some applicants who do not have to sit for this test, and there are some general exemptions there. But in general, you must understand what it means to be an Australian citizen, and you must have adequate knowledge of the responsibilities and privileges of being an Australian citizen. Thank you. Okay, let's come to the next criteria, which is the close and continuing link to Australia. So you must remember that in order to make an application for citizenship, you must intend to live in Australia or maintain a close and continuing association with Australia while you are overseas. So please bear that in mind. And a citizenship is a privilege that requires a long-term commitment to Australia. You must not be somebody who is just wanting to take the Australian citizenship and then live overseas. I mean, that would most likely disqualify you from this such an application. So please bear that in mind, that you will have to show evidence in the form of what is your commitment towards Australia. And how you can show this commitment towards Australia is the department may consider if you have a child who is an Australian citizen, or a partner who is an Australian citizen at the time of making the application, or if you have an extended family in Australia, and the amount of time you and your family has spent in Australia. Also, if you have a bank account in Australia, that is considered as your ties with Australia. If you have a job in Australia, even better. And if you have paid taxes regularly in Australia, that also will show your ties to Australia. And even better is if you have a property in Australia. So any of these things that I just mentioned will or may fulfill this requirement. Okay, so let's come to the next point to see under what circumstances the department may not approve your application for an Australian citizenship. And under this heading, I will say, when you submit your documents with regards to your identity, and if the department is not satisfied with such documents that you have provided, they may request you to provide some further evidence of your identity in order for them to cross verify that and be satisfied that yes, these are genuine. So this is one thing you must remember, that your identity has to be established and verified by the department. Secondly, if you have had any criminal offenses, or if there are any proceedings for an offense against you currently going on in an Australian court, and these are either pending or have been going on, so this is one reason why your citizenship application could not be approved. And in case if you have been released from prison after serving a prison sentence of 12 months or more, or 10 years if you are a repeat offender, so that is another reason for not getting your citizenship application approved. Okay, there are several other scenarios where your citizenship application may not be approved, but these could be just become quite lengthy. We will jump on to the next one, which is being a risk to the national security. So remember, if you are a person and the department on their scrutiny finds out that you could be a person that could be a risk to the national security, your application will be assessed accordingly and you may not be eligible for an Australian citizenship. Okay, and there is something around people who have been former citizens of Australia and for whatever reason their citizenship has ceased in the past 12 months. Such persons may not be eligible to reapply for Australian citizenship. Then there are other requirements of your location at the time of the application is being processed or approved, and you are outside of Australia at the time your citizenship application is decided. Unless the department is satisfied that one of the special residence requirements are met, or the spouse or interdependent partner discretion was applied to assist you to meet the general residence requirement. So on and so forth, there are just endless conditions and requirements to be met. So we will stop with those requirements at this point and jump on to the steps of making an Australian citizenship application. So quite obviously the step number one, like I pointed out earlier in this video, is that you must ensure before you start the application process that you are eligible for it or not. So how you can find this out? I would sincerely request that you avail professional help from a migration agent and find out through formal assessment of your credentials, your profile, whether you are eligible for an Australian citizenship or not. So that is step number one. Step number two, quite obviously, is to then, once you find out that you are eligible, you can start compiling your documents or arranging your documents, and you will need to give us evidence that you meet the requirements. And then there is this whole bunch of documents that you will have to provide us. We will provide you with a customized checklist of documents if we are representing you for such an application, and you can start arranging those documents, provide us, we will review them, and then we will come to the next step of once we have compiled your application, we will then come to the application step, and this application can be either done on paper or through online mode, irrespective of whether you are in Australia or overseas. Okay, so coming to the next step is that once your application has been lodged and an officer gets allocated for processing your application, the next thing that will happen is you will have to attend an interview and a citizenship test for all people who are aged between 18 and 59 years. Like I said earlier, there could be some exceptions, and others might only have to attend an interview and not the citizenship test. And whether you will be attending the interview or citizenship test or both will be conveyed to you by the department in the form of a letter that you will receive either in the mail or on your email, or if we are representing you, we will receive that and we will communicate that to you. And again, there will be different appointment dates available for such an interview and test. So you will have the option to decide when you can attend such an interview and test. So we will liaise with you and the department and set up a time when this can happen for you. So let's say you successfully manage to attend the interview and give your citizenship test. Now you must remember all this process can take several months. It may not happen instantly, or if you are wanting to reschedule your interview dates, this could also take several months. So, and processing also could take months and months together. So once your interview and test is completed, then the processing of your application will continue, and you must wait for your the decision of the application that the department will make. And in some instances the department may come back to you asking for further information. When I say further information, it is normally in the form of documentary evidence of information that the department may ask you to provide, and you will then have to arrange those documents and provide us so that we can again compile and send it to the department. So please remember that. Then finally, once the processing of your application is completed, the department will send you a letter informing the decision they have made with regards to your citizenship application. If we are representing you, we will receive the letter and we will send a copy to you, and hoping that you will be granted your citizenship. Congratulations. Then comes the next step of attending the citizenship ceremony. Now remember that most applicants for citizenship by conferral must attend a citizenship ceremony and make the Australian citizenship pledge to become an Australian citizen. So generally you will receive an invitation to attend such a grand ceremony within 6 months of your application being approved. So again, there are another 6 months that will you will have to wait in order to get this invitation. And again, these times may vary from application to application. This is just a general guideline. So I hope we have given you a good enough idea of how the Australian citizenship application process works and what is involved in this. But please remember, I have just touched the subject, it is just too vast for me to cover everything in a video, and like I said earlier, I would like to reiterate once again, please ensure that you are eligible before you start the process. So thank you once again for taking the time to watch our video. I hope you have found this information useful. If you need any other information or clarification, you are most welcome to get in touch on our contact details provided in the comment section of this video, and we will be happy to assist. If you have not already done, please subscribe to our channel, push the bell icon and press the like button if you have liked this video, and we will be coming up with another interesting video soon on how to make different types of visa applications and how to make different other citizenship applications. If we come across any breaking news on the immigration front, we will bring that to you. So please do subscribe to our channel. Due to the COVID-19 crisis still going on, we would like to sincerely urge you that you please maintain social distancing, wash your hands regularly, stay safe. Thank you and see you next time.